Hey guys, welcome to the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. I'm your host, Ayasha Roberson, and I'm back on the scene with a new group for this week. Now, we're still in the new year, so we want to continue to bring you new artists that you never even heard of before. And this artist, these guys have their own sound. I like the funk, I like the rock, I love their just musical influences, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that momentarily. I just like the authenticity of this group. And then, of course, they just have their own original sound. So, without further ado, let me help you welcome to the 101 in 1 in 10 platform stage. I have the iconic jump shot. Yay! And I have Aaron with me today. So, we're going to be talking to Aaron about the group and how they got started and how we can actually learn from his musical experience as well. All right. Thank you
Thanks.
so much, Aaron.
Okay, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So can you tell us a little bit about your musical influences and how did you get started as an independent artist?
Yeah, I actually haven't been playing music that long, but have long been a just a fan of music. All genres, really, everything from that really kind of mostly that fits into kind of that Americana niche.
Mm,
Performers like everything from Tom Petty to Steve Earle, Springsteen, but also people like Ray Wiley Hubbard, who I just love as a songwriter, and Tony Joe White. But I also get into to funk. I'm a huge fan of funk music, but our music really does tend to take from the genres of kind of country rock and blues, which really comprises what most Americana music is today.
mhm. I love it. I love the fact that you have such an array of different musical influences and that you were able to kind of take those musical influences and make it your own as an artist. And I believe most independent artists have a hard time doing that because we want to make sure we stay so relevant, but then we start to imitate other artists as well. And I think it's a very, very challenging for artists to really kind of get the influences, but then also make their own, get like evolve and become their own sound, their own musical style as that artist, so you can be known for who you are versus being another replica of, you know, whether it's Tony Parker or if it's like George Clinton. It's about really finding your sound as an independent artist. And I think that's a lot of artists struggle with that, whether they're young or old. I think I find it more with younger people today in their, when I say younger people, I say like in their 20s who want to sound like the coolest person and not able to really grasp their own sound because they're all into what feels popular versus what feels good to you. And I think you guys are a group that actually know who you are as individuals, so you know who you are as artists.
Yeah, they always say, what is it? Uh, Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And I mean, you could look at an artist like Bruno Mars and say that he sounds a lot like James Brown if you really like think back to the broader spectrum of how James Brown made music and think about like some of the things that Bruno Mars does today. But the reality is we all pull from our influences.
Mhm.
I tend to be, I'm our principal songwriter, and I tend to pull a lot from one. I tend to be very wordy in my songwriting, but I also write very basic rhythms. But then we layer that music on top of things like jazz influences and blues influences on our leads. So we try to bring in this full spectrum of music that really just simply comes from our influences.
Love it. Now, can you talk a little bit, since you're the songwriter, can you talk a little bit what is your creative process? And I know you just said that you get a little wordy when writing your music, but what is your creative process when you're trying to really go into that songwriters type of realm and create some songs that's really pulling from other parts of yourself that it may take a little time to do? What is your process of really going into that zone?
Yeah, my process is that I really have no process.
Mm,
I sometimes I'll hear or see something or feel something, and I'll write a song within 10 minutes. There's other times where I'll be thinking through something over and over and over again. And it'll finally kind of come together to me. Oftentimes I've got just words sitting around and sheets and sheets of lyrics that are on my computer, and I'm waiting for kind of that right riff, that right rhythm to figure out whether it's going to be more of a ballad or whether it's going to have some funk to it or whether it's going to be bluesy. And so there really is, I'd love to say that, give you some educationally inspiring response and say, well, I do this and follow this. But, I don't think songwriting is that complex. I think it's as complex as you want to make it. And my process really isn't very complex. It's just how I'm feeling at that moment. And oftentimes it's things that have been pissing me off for years and years and years. Or I might hear a song, like we have a song that we released called Now She Is My Ex, that came because I was, just listening to the radio and I heard this Loretta Lynn song that's basically about late night booty calls. And I thought about my history and struggling with alcoholism, and how we've all been kind of either victims of or executed our own late night booty calls at some point in our life. And so I kind of wrote a song about Loretta Lynn and this notion of how her first hit song was about late night booty calls, and then talked about how I kind of fit into that. So and that was something that I had written. I wrote that song in 15 minutes, and then I went home and I immediately just kind of carved out the rhythm for it and had the thing written, and it was in our rehearsal the next time we were together.
wow, that's that's magical. When you're talking about your songwriting quote unquote process, it's not really a process. It's based off of how you're feeling in that moment, and that kind of allows you to emotionalize who you are through your words, and that turns into music, and then that turns into a formulation of a song, and that's how you're able to really get your story, and but also get your feelings out there as well. And I think that's a beautiful way of being able to see and hear your story through the music. And that's a very empowering thing to for other people to hear. Because a lot of times people feel like they have to take something or they have to do something in order to get certain music down on paper. And it's just you just saying something actually what you're feeling and some of your struggles. And that's how you're able to create such beautiful music. That's
Yeah, I also think that sometimes songs are they're just silly. They're not necessarily. I think people art is subjective, any kind of art, and even the way we consume art is. So some people, they really dig into the lyrics and they want to be touched and moved by these lyrics. um I'm actually just looking for kind of, I'm listening for a hook. Like I want to hear some big cool riff or just some really cool chorus, and just some guitar just absolutely blazing. You know but it's different for everyone. And I just, at the end of the day, I think we as a band just hope that when people hear us, they'll dig us and they'll want to spend more time consuming our art. And if they don't, that's fine too. It's just as long as they don't want to go listen to Florida Georgia Line, because they're terrible.
and can you tell the art, can you tell the fans how can they book you guys for upcoming shows? Can you tell them a little bit about what to expect this year when it comes to new music coming out for the band?
Yeah, we're right now we're taking a little bit of a break because our drummer's about to have wrist surgery, which is not a great thing for a drummer. But you know, when you masturbate as much as he does, it's going to happen. So, but we actually right now have a little mini run for down in Texas. We're going to play. We're based in St. Louis, but we're going to play
Oh,
at South by Southwest. One, maybe possibly two shows. Then we're going to be playing in Dallas and right after that, so right around St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, wow.
And then we're going to have a string of singles. We actually recorded them live in a studio setting, but all like one take singles that we're going to be dropping slowly throughout the next couple of months. And then, you know, when people want to find us, you know, you can just stream us wherever you listen to music, or you can just go to atomicjunkshot.com and or any of our social channels and find us.
Cool beans. Well, thank you, Aaron, for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I learned so much about atomic junk shot music and also about your musical influences as well and your musical process. So I'm looking forward to hearing so much music from you guys in 2023 and beyond. And thank you guys for watching the 101 in 10, where you get to see your favorite artists from around the world 101 in 10 minutes. Make sure you tune into next episode of our show because you never know what artist is going to be on the next episode. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a good day and bye.